SyncUp Layers, a SketchUp extension that helps you keep your geometry, images, and text in layers consistent across multiple layout files. Available for download and purchase from the SketchUp extension warehouse. When working in multiple SketchUp layout files, there's no easy way to automatically update or synchronize your geometry such as shapes, pictures, and text across multiple layout files for your project, common in a title bar, for example. Here I'm working on two project files. One is an elevation, and the other is a wall-to-roof connection detail. Say now you want to add a title bar to each of your files. This could be incredibly time-consuming and tedious. Sure, you can use templates in layout, but templates only give you a starting point for your layout file. Later, if you want to make an update to your title block, you would have to open up each file and make modifications one by one. And depending on the size of your project, this could be tens or hundreds of files. So what you'd prefer to have is an easy way to make updates to your title block across all your project files as your project progresses. Here I have a template that shows me the center of the page, has some notes, includes an index, and maybe even some grid items. I usually turn the visibility of these layers off, but they're nice to reference across multiple files, and sometimes I like to update them as my project matures. In the title bar here, another thing that often gets updated in my projects is the scales and the style for the compass and the location of these. To get started syncing layers, you'll need the Excel template that can be downloaded from the extension inside the SketchUp application. For purposes of this demo, I've already created a template and gotten started on it. When you first open the template, this is how it'll look. Let's get started adding these fields for our specific project example here. I'll start by adding the layer names. Then I'll toggle on the visibility to match each of the layer names. Then I'm going to select the path, and I can copy this directly out of the File Explorer for the source file, and in this case that would be my template for the title bar that I'd like to use. Then I'm going to copy over the destination files. This would be the link to the layout files or the file path to the layout files where I have my detail for the roof to wall connection and my elevation. Note that you can use a semicolon separator here to add multiple paths. So this is where you would add all of your files. And then it's just easy to copy and paste these file paths for each of the layers that you want to copy over. So here I've got my layers, I've got my visibility, I've got my source file, and my destination file. And I'm going to just save and exit out of Excel. Here's the extension. And now you can see where the download template is right there. I'm going to make sure and I select my template file for this demo. Now I have to save this, and unfortunately SketchUp Layout has to be closed when we run this extension, as well as Excel. And we'll click Apply. Now it'll think for a second after we click Apply. Okay, and we got an error, but I was expecting this because I wanted to show you something. In Layout, you need to make sure that all of your shared layers are actually shared. So here you can see for page layout grid that was originally just a single page. So I'm going to resave this as a shared layer and rerun my extension after I close the warning message here. And now large projects can actually take a while. I've seen it take up to 10 minutes for 50 or more files, and that's just because the performance of writing all this geometry across multiple files. Okay, success. Let's open up our layout files and see if we have a title bar. Awesome, there it is, some residence, and then there's a title bar. Same with my detail drawing. You might notice that the page number is different, and even the template was different. This is because when we copy over layers, it actually copies over the auto text. And in this case, for this file, I had some auto text that was set specific for the page section to be A5 versus A1. Now, let's make an update to the template. Instead of some residence, I'm going to have cool residence. And I want to move this progress drawing to a different location in my layout file. Okay, I'll save. And then I'm going to close out of layout, open up the extension, apply my changes. This will take a little while. Okay, success. Let's reopen the layout file. Take a look at my title blocks. And now it says cool residence. And you can see my progress drawing block is in its new location. So you can see if you have lots of files how this can be a huge time saver. Okay, similar to our other extension, SyncUp Text, I'll just mention one last thing, which is we have this backup directory which can be set from the extension when you first load it, and also from the settings cog from within the extension inside the SketchUp application. And the way this works is every time you run SyncUp Layers, it creates a copy of your layout file prior to applying changes, just in the event that you make a change to multiple files that you didn't intend to. You can always restore it here. And here you can see we append a timestamp onto each file. So here you can see here's my earlier file without the title block. Then here's my next file with the title block that says some residence. If you remember, our last one is this cool residence, and where we move the progress drawing block around. And that's it. We hope you enjoy this extension, and check us out in the SketchUp extension warehouse for more useful SketchUp extensions.